Good morning, everybody. This is Stacey Jean. Welcome to Addicted to Being Sober. This is my second video. Actually in the beautiful country of Honduras. We're on a little island called Roatan this week. So that is going to be my main focus of this episode. This is my first vacation that I've ever traveled in probably 2 full decades without alcohol, being alcohol free. Which so far has been completely amazing. I never would have thought that. I was stressed out, which doesn't help. Stress is definitely a trigger for me. Stress and actually being by myself, being alone with my own self, my own thoughts, also is a trigger for me. So there is a lot of relaxation time in between diving here. My husband and I chose this resort, and actually it was my thoughts that chose this resort. I wanted to do a resort that didn't have all-inclusive alcohol. For me, that was going to be way too difficult. This is way too soon in my sobriety. I'm almost at 150 days of being sober. And again, I'm sorry for the video being a day late. I promised I'd have this out on Sunday. Today is Monday the 16th, but we got here, we hit the water, we went scuba diving. And again, that's why I chose this as well, because we are avid scuba divers, and being busy definitely helps. I have some tricks that I used that were recommended to me that I'm going to recommend to all of you. They work, so I'll talk about those later on. For me, the all-inclusive was just going to be out of the question. Believe it or not, you're talking about a person who packed a box of wine, and I mean a box that holds 3 liters of wine in a single box. Would make sure that baby was wrapped up and all protected with a beach towel. I would give up shoes, I would give up extra outfits, I would give up a lot of stuff that was for my own self because I was so worried about not having enough wine. To me, vacation is food and wine. I'm a big foodie, which we all know, but to pack a box of wine when I can have all the wine I want. I think for me, because Chardonnay was a drink of choice, I wanted to make sure that I had a wine that I enjoyed the flavor of. But how ridiculous is that? I mean, that's just telling you that that's a problem. Everybody would know that that's a problem. I think my husband didn't want to say anything about that box of wine. He would tease me about it here and there. But he didn't want to say anything about that just because he didn't want to deal with it. But I can't imagine that he was dealing with such stupid things like, okay, there's not enough wine on the island in an all-inclusive resort that you have to actually pack wine. So yeah, that's insanity. For me, the biggest part of vacation, truthfully, is when the wheels are gearing up. That plane is taken off, the wheels are up in, and you can hear the door close. And I knew very shortly, within 20 minutes, that the drink cart was coming down the aisle, and obviously would overindulge. Never could be one. I would always make sure that I would ask for 2. And there were some flights that were long enough where I actually would hit the bell for the flight attendant, or I'd walk to the back and ask for another mini bottle of wine that they serve. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Was I had one of my tricks for the plane, thinking that I needed to avoid ordering that early in the morning a mimosa. So I was gonna order a club soda and OJ, which is definitely one of my tricks that it works. It definitely works. But because of COVID, there was no drink cart. So I wasn't even thinking like that, just took that right off the table. you walk on, they give you a little Ziploc bag with a bottle of water, a snack, and like an antibacterial wipe for your hands. So I knew right at that moment that stress and the urge and the craving to sit there and hear the clanging of the cart and the drinks being made, like that took that right off the table, which for me is great. For others, they're probably pissed, but it is what it is. So the other part is, again, that's why we didn't pick the all-inclusive, is I wasn't gonna have the opportunity to sneak it. Not that I would. I'm so new into sobriety that it's just not an option for me. But there was every possibility with an all-inclusive that that I could sneak it, and Scott would never know until he did know, right? So he wouldn't know if it was a minor amount or a small amount. But for me, it's too dangerous. The taste, once it's on my lips and on my tongue, it's all downhill from there. I would drink and eat on vacation from the time I got up till the time I went to bed, and I knew wine definitely would get me tipsy really quickly. So I would do like mimosas in the morning. I would do like mixed drinks during the day, some margaritas, things like that. And then as soon as it was wine o'clock, or what I say, 5 o'clock, wine o'clock, then I would add wine on top of that. And again, it was just a crap show from there. Just no good. I have so many beautiful vacations that we've been on that I don't remember going to bed. We were in arguments. Scott and I argued, and I don't remember those. And I would blame him for, being unreasonable and thought he was wrong. And I always knew I was right when I was drinking. So now we've had this amazing few days here. We have just reconnected as a husband and a wife. And I think I said this last time, but he says that he's closer to me now, and he has the woman that he married back. And we've had an amazing time. We've had 5 dives so far. We did a very late afternoon dive when we got here on Saturday. And then yesterday we did 4 beautiful dives, well over an hour long a piece. So 4 hours of being under the water definitely gets you tired. So I've meditated. I do my morning ritual, like I said, every time. That's super important. It's important for me to say how I feel physically, say how I feel emotionally, what I'm grateful for, and what my daily intention is. And as you can see right now, I'm so grateful and blessed to be on this beautiful island. We're in a bungalow over the water, so you can see how gorgeous it is here. It rained overnight, but it's like still in the probably high 70s right now. It was, upwards of 87, 88 degrees yesterday. So just beautiful and blessed that I get to do this. And I'm probably more grateful and thankful that I get to do this now more than I ever, maybe I didn't appreciate the vacations that we had before. I think that I appreciated them, but not in the way that I should have. I think I truly told myself I deserved those vacations and I deserved to go away. And then I was thinking about, since I've been here, how many people in the world don't ever get to experience an opportunity to, just like this, to be in true paradise. And for me to be so selfish before and not to embrace or enjoy it and think about alcohol all day. Like, I would be diving and think about when we got out of the water, going to get a drink and bring it back to the room before I even had my dive gear off. you know, it consumes you. It takes over your brain and your body, and it truly sucks more than anything. And I can no longer live like that. And for those of you that, you know, that are struggling, ask for help. I'm going to say this in every episode, ask for help. If I had just asked for help, I wouldn't have hit, you know, a 10th rock bottom, but one where I truly almost didn't get a chance to enjoy this beauty and embrace life and, you know, appreciate the natural beauty of everything. I've been out here on this deck on the bungalow 2 days in a row, being able to meditate and just mindful breathing and just thinking, consuming my thoughts with the pure joy of being in this paradise. So with that being said, I did want to talk about a couple of tricks that I had for traveling. One is I brought like a wine cup. It's not a Yeti, but it's similar to a Yeti brand. But I brought this for the plane to put my club soda and my OJ in. But obviously that didn't have to happen. But this is good for during the day. It's silly to me, but it feels like I'm, you know, I've got my little cup in my hand, my little vice. What I've been doing is actually going to the bar here. They have one bar, everybody congregates around it, you know, just before dinner, and talks about the day, the dives, and everybody's got drinks in their hands. So I've been having the wine replacement with, I'll ask the bartender for a wine glass and put OJ, mostly club soda, a splash of OJ. If he has fruit, he'll put fruit in it for me, just a touch of ice, and it just feels like, you know, again, that I have a cocktail, but there's nothing in it that's mind altering, which I appreciate so much when I wake up and I'm not having a hangover scuba diving. And with that being said, I'm also not drunk scuba diving. I mean, how many times have I put myself in jeopardy where I've said, oh, it's just a couple of Coronas, or, you know, I had wine and then we'd have dinner and then we'd go out for a night dive and I would be tipsy. And how insane is that? Like, how friggin' dangerous is that? I mean, I've just done so many things that if I made a list of, I'd be here all day long of the stupid, most unintelligent things and thoughts that I've ever done. The other thing is I brought my own coffee and I brought my own tea. Coffee, just the Honduran coffee can be very strong. But I also, again, brought my own other mug that I put my coffee in the morning. But what's great is I didn't know what they were going to have or offer for flavored teas or herbal teas, something without caffeine, which is very soothing and calming in the evening. So I brought a peppermint tea, but they have a whole coffee and tea station here, which is great. So in the evening last night, I made honey chamomile tea, and they had real honey. Local honey here was amazing, and they've had local fruits and produce and just the freshness of everything. And again, that I didn't appreciate at home, and now that I'm here, there's no pesticides, there's no chemicals put on everything. It's just the pure taste of beautiful produce and vegetables and the fruits. They offer fruits here every day, which I'm sure they offered that stuff at the other resorts that we were at, but I didn't appreciate it because I was too worried about having a mimosa in the morning instead of having, you know, local stuff that we don't appreciate when we're home. And nothing tastes like that when we're home either in the States. The freshness of the local foods here, and having local chef here, he makes us, we call this dive camp. You eat family style with everybody that's here diving. And oh, speaking of which, I went to buy a set of fins before I left for vacation. I needed a new pair, and I went to Aqua Diving Academy in Portland, Maine, and the owner, Julie, is hilarious. So I walk in, and she's like, "What do you need fins for?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to Honduras." She's like, "Where you going?" I said, "Cocoa View Resort," which is amazing if you're a scuba diver. Highly recommend it. And she said, "Are you going Saturday?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "That's so funny because we're going Saturday." So what's been amazing on top of this is we're with some local people from Maine that we weren't intending on meeting here, especially during COVID time, and we've had a wonderful time with them. She's a person I had to make amends with. So I explained to her that I'm now alcohol free, I'm sober, and she literally grabbed my arm, trying not to touch because of COVID, when I was at her shop, and she was so happy for me. And I apologized to her because she was so worried one night when we were here, the last time we were here with a group of people from the dive shop, and I had drinks before we got in the water, and she was petrified, and I know I wasn't nice to her. I know that I basically told her it wasn't her business, and it was. She was worried about me, and she was worried about her shop, and trying to give me a sign or a signal, like not to get in the water while you've been drinking. It's the dumbest thing that you can do, and I did it anyways. So again, I have so many people to make amends with. I'm truly sorry, but I do recommend those tricks. You can use them at home. If you go out to dinner and you're a wine drinker, ask for a club soda. Another thing that's really good is sparkling cider with a little bit of bitters in it in a champagne glass. It's very, very similar to a champagne. So the sparkling cider, a little bit of bitters, mimics the champagne, and it's enjoyable, and it's flavorful, and you're not putting toxins in your body. So with that being said, I'm probably done for talking today. But just look at how beautiful this is. I'm starting to get warm. I put a sweater on this morning because it was damp. But lastly, I almost forgot, there's a hurricane on the way. So that's the story of my life. We're not going to stress out about it. The resort says they're going to keep us safe. They'll evacuate us if we need to. So I'm not going to let that stress be a trigger for me. We're ready and prepared to pack up what we need to. If we have to overnight somewhere, it's supposed to be here sometime tomorrow. It keeps looking like it's going south of us, so I'll let everybody know how that happened and how I handled the stress of a hurricane while I'm on vacation. And I'll keep you posted next week. Thank you, take care, and please, hopefully you'll like and share my channel. Thank you guys. We'll see you soon.